First contact. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Captain Elena Rodriguez as she stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, humanity's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. The ship's sleek design and state-of-the-art propulsion system had carried them farther into the unknown than any human had ventured before. "Captain, we're picking up an anomalous signal," reported Lieutenant Sarah Chen, her fingers dancing across the holographic display at her station. "It doesn't match any known patterns in our database." Elena leaned forward, her dark eyes narrowing as she studied the readout. "Origin: approximately 2.3 light-years ahead, sir. It appears to be coming from a previously uncharted star system." A ripple of excitement passed through the bridge crew. They had been searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence for months, and this could be their first real lead. "Helm, plot a course," Elena ordered. "Let's see what's out there." As the horizon altered its trajectory, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Humanity had long debated the existence of alien life, but now they stood on the precipice of potentially answering that age-old question. Days passed as the ship drew closer to the source of the signal. The crew's excitement grew with each passing hour, their training barely containing their eagerness to make history. Finally, they entered the star system. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. The system's primary star was a brilliant blue-white giant, its intense radiation held at bay by some kind of energy field encompassing the entire system. Within this protective bubble, they detected multiple planets and countless artificial structures. "My God," whispered Commander Jack Foster, Elena's second-in-command. "It's an entire civilization." Before Elena could respond, the ship's communication system crackled to life. A series of complex tones and clicks filled the air, clearly artificial in nature. "They're hailing us," Sarah announced, her voice filled with awe. Elena took a deep breath, steeling herself for what could be humanity's first conversation with an alien species. "Open a channel. Let's see if we can establish communication." For hours, the ship's advanced AI worked to decipher the alien language, cross-referencing it with every known linguistic pattern in its database. Slowly but surely, a rudimentary translation began to form. The alien message, when finally decoded, was simple yet profound. "Welcome, travelers. We are the Tsar Koni. We have been waiting for you." Elena's heart raced as she formulated humanity's first response to an alien civilization. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth spaceship Horizon. We come in peace and friendship, seeking to learn and share knowledge." There was a pause that seemed to stretch for an eternity before the reply came. "Your arrival marks a significant moment, Captain Rodriguez. Please approach the fourth planet of our system. We will guide you to a suitable docking station." As the Horizon made its way deeper into the alien system, the crew marveled at the incredible structures they passed. Massive space stations orbited gas giants, harvesting their resources. Planet-sized constructs that defied easy categorization drifted in precise formations. It was a level of technological advancement that made humanity's greatest achievements seem primitive by comparison. The fourth planet came into view, a gleaming jewel of blue and green that reminded Elena of Earth. But as they drew closer, she could see that much of the planet's surface was covered in sprawling cities that seemed to pulse with energy. A shimmering tunnel of light appeared before the ship, guiding them towards a massive orbital platform. Elena couldn't help but be reminded of stories of moths being drawn to flames, and she silently hoped that this encounter would have a happier ending than those tales. "Take us in slowly," she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Shields at maximum, but weapons powered down. Let's not give our hosts any reason to doubt our peaceful intentions." The Horizon glided into a cavernous docking bay, easily large enough to accommodate a dozen ships of their size. As the ship settled into place, Elena turned to address her crew. "This is the moment we've all been training for," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We are about to become the first humans to make contact with an alien civilization. Remember your training, stay alert, and above all, represent the best of humanity. We have a chance to forge a relationship that could change the course of our species' history. Let's make it count." With those words, Elena led a small delegation to the airlock. As the doors hissed open, they were greeted by an atmosphere that their sensors deemed breathable. Stepping out onto the alien structure, Elena's eyes widened as she took in the sight before her. A group of beings stood waiting, their forms both familiar and utterly alien. They were roughly humanoid in shape, standing on two legs with two arms, but that's where the similarities ended. Their bodies seemed to shimmer and shift, as if they were made of living light. Where a human would have a face, these beings had a swirling vortex of colors that somehow conveyed emotion and intent. One of the beings stepped forward, its body pulsing with a warm, welcoming glow. When it spoke, the words seemed to form directly in Elena's mind. "Captain Rodriguez," the being said, its mental voice resonating with a depth of wisdom that Elena could barely comprehend. "I am Zarthok, emissary of the Zarkoni people. On behalf of our civilization, I bid you and your crew welcome to our home." Elena stepped forward, fighting the urge to pinch herself to make sure this wasn't all an elaborate dream. "Thank you, emissary Zarthok. We are honored by your welcome and eager to learn about your people and your incredible achievements." As Elena spoke, she could sense an undercurrent of excitement and curiosity from the alien beings. It seemed that despite their advanced technology, the Zarkoni were just as intrigued by humanity as humans were by them. Zarthok's form shimmered with what Elena interpreted as pleasure. "The feeling is mutual, Captain. Your arrival marks the beginning of a new era for both our peoples. Come, there is much to discuss and even more to show you." As Elena and her team followed the Zarkoni deeper into the station, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in humanity's accomplishment. They had taken their first steps into a larger universe, and the possibilities seemed endless. Little did Elena know that this historic encounter would set in motion a chain of events that would test the limits of human ingenuity, challenge long-held beliefs, and ultimately reshape the destiny of both species in ways no one could have predicted. Cultural exchange. As the days turned into weeks, the crew of the ESS Horizon found themselves immersed in a whirlwind of discovery and cultural exchange. The Zarkoni proved to be gracious hosts, eager to share their knowledge and equally curious about humanity. Captain Elena Rodriguez sat in a vast chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics, its walls shimmering with ever-changing patterns of light. Across from her, Zarthok's form pulsed with a mix of colors that Elena had come to recognize as excitement and curiosity. "Your species fascinates us, Captain," Zarthok's thoughts resonated in Elena's mind. "The way you've overcome your biological limitations through technology is quite remarkable." Elena smiled, still not entirely used to this form of communication. "Thank you, emissary. We're equally fascinated by your people. Your mastery of energy and matter is beyond anything we've ever imagined." As they conversed, Elena couldn't help but notice the stark differences between their cultures. The Zarkoni seemed to have little concept of individual privacy, their thoughts and emotions freely shared among their kind. This openness had initially unnerved many of the human crew members, who valued their personal space and private thoughts. "We've noticed that your people seem uncomfortable with our method of communication," Zarthok observed, a hint of concern coloring their thoughts. Elena nodded, choosing her words carefully. "Humans value their individuality and privacy. The idea of sharing our thoughts so openly is foreign to us. It's not that we don't trust you, it's just different from what we're used to." Zarthok's form shimmered with understanding. "Fascinating. We find it difficult to comprehend a society built on such separation. Does this not lead to misunderstandings and conflict?" "Sometimes," Elena admitted, "but it also drives us to communicate better, to bridge those gaps. It's part of what makes us human." As they continued their discussion, Elena's second-in-command, Commander Jack Foster, entered the chamber. His face was a mix of excitement and concern. "Captain, emissary," he greeted them both. I hope I'm not interrupting, but there's something you need to see. They followed Jack to one of the research labs where the human scientists had been working alongside their Zarkoni counterparts. Inside, a group of humans and Zarkoni were gathered around a holographic display showing complex equations and diagrams. Dr. Amelia Chang, the Horizon's lead physicist, looked up as they entered. Her eyes were wide with a mix of awe and disbelief. "Captain, we've been working with the Zarkoni on understanding their FTL technology. It's incredible. They don't just bend space-time, they manipulate the very fabric of reality itself." Zarthok's form pulsed with what Alina had come to recognize as pride. "We call it reality weaving. It allows us to travel vast distances almost instantaneously." Alina's mind raced with the implications. Such technology could revolutionize human space travel, opening up the galaxy in ways they had only dreamed of. But as she looked at the complex equations, a small frown formed on her face. This level of technology, it's centuries beyond our current understanding. She mused aloud. Jack nodded, voicing the concern that had been growing in Alina's mind. "Captain, if we accept this knowledge, we'd be skipping over countless steps in our technological evolution. Are we ready for that kind of leap?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. Alina could see the hunger for knowledge in her crew's eyes, but she also recognized the wisdom in Jack's words. Accepting such advanced technology without fully understanding its principles could be dangerous. Zarthok, sensing the humans' conflicted emotions, spoke up. "Perhaps we have been overzealous in our sharing. It is easy to forget that your species is younger than ours. We meant no harm. We simply wish to help." Alina nodded, appreciating the Zarkoni's honesty. "We understand, and we're grateful. But I think we need to approach this more gradually. There's so much we can learn from each other, but we need to do it at a pace that allows us to truly understand and integrate the knowledge." As they discussed how to proceed, Alina couldn't help but notice a subtle shift in the atmosphere. Some of the Zarkoni scientists seemed disappointed, frustrated. It was hard to tell with their alien expressions, but she sensed that not all of them agreed with the decision to slow down the knowledge transfer. Over the next few days, the cultural exchange continued, but with a more measured approach. The humans shared their history, art, and philosophy, while the Zarkoni introduced them to concepts that stretched the boundaries of human imagination. One evening, as Alina was reviewing the day's reports in her quarters, she received an urgent message from Lieutenant Sarah Chen, the ship's communications officer. "Captain, we've intercepted some strange transmissions between the Zarkoni. Our translators are having trouble with the encryption, but, well, I think you should see this for yourself." Alina made her way to the communications center, where Sarah pulled up a partially decoded message. As Alina read through it, her blood ran cold. The message, fragmented as it was, seemed to suggest that not all Zarkoni viewed this cultural exchange in the same light as their leaders. Words like primitive, potential threat, and containment jumped out at her, but it was the last partially translated phrase that truly worried her. "Must not be allowed to leave." Alina's mind raced. Had they misunderstood the Zarkoni's intentions? Were they guests or prisoners? And if the latter, how could they hope to escape a civilization so vastly superior to their own? As she contemplated their next move, Alina realized that this encounter with an alien civilization was about to become far more complex and potentially dangerous than anyone could have anticipated. The true test of humanity's ingenuity and resilience was just beginning. Rising tensions. The revelation of the intercepted transmissions cast a shadow over what had initially seemed like a harmonious first contact. Captain Alina Rodriguez found herself in the unenviable position of maintaining a facade of trust while secretly preparing for potential conflict. In a secure briefing room aboard the Horizon, Alina addressed her senior staff. "We need to proceed with extreme caution," she began, her voice low and serious. "We can't afford to jump to conclusions, but we also can't ignore the potential threat." Commander Jack Foster leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "What's our play, Captain? We're drastically outgunned and outmatched technologically." Alina nodded grimly. "That's why we need to rely on what's always been humanity's greatest strength, our adaptability and ingenuity. Dr. Chang, what's our status on understanding their technology?" Dr. Amelia Chang, still looking somewhat overwhelmed, responded, "We've made some progress, especially in understanding their energy manipulation techniques. But we're still light years away from replicating anything close to their level of technology." "Keep at it," Alina encouraged. "Even small insights could prove crucial. Lieutenant Chen, continue monitoring their communications. If there's any hint of immediate danger, I want to know immediately." As the meeting concluded, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking a tightrope. One misstep could spell disaster not just for the crew, but potentially for all of humanity. Over the next few days, the interactions with the Zarkoni continued, but there was an undercurrent of tension that hadn't been there before. Alina noticed subtle changes in the behavior of their hosts: increased security presence, restricted access to certain areas, and a growing reluctance to answer specific questions about their technology and society. During one of their cultural exchange sessions, Alina decided to probe gently. "Emissary Zarthok," she began, keeping her tone casual, "we've noticed some changes in the station's security protocols. Is there cause for concern?" Zarthok's form shimmered with what Alina had come to recognize as discomfort. "Mere precautions, Captain. As you've noted, our civilizations are quite different. Some among us feel we should proceed with more caution in our interactions." Alina nodded, maintaining a neutral expression despite her internal alarm. "I see. We certainly understand the need for caution. Perhaps we could discuss any specific concerns your people might have." Before Zarthok could respond, another Zarkoni entered the chamber. Its form pulsed with colors Alina hadn't seen before, sharp, aggressive hues that set her on edge. "Emissary," the newcomer's thoughts resonated sharply. "The council requests your presence immediately." As Zarthok left hurriedly, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was happening behind the scenes. Her suspicions were confirmed when, hours later, Lieutenant Chen burst into her quarters. "Captain, we've managed to decrypt more of their transmissions," Sarah reported breathlessly. "It's worse than we thought. There's a faction among the Zarkoni pushing for our immediate containment. They see us as a potential threat to their galactic order." Alina's mind raced. Containment? What exactly does that mean? Sarah's face paled. "From what we can gather, they're discussing everything from forced relocation of our entire species to a quarantine sector of space to complete neutralization." The implications hit Alina like a physical blow. They weren't just facing the potential imprisonment of her crew. The entire human race could be at risk. "Alert the senior staff. Emergency meeting in 5 minutes," Alina ordered, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her mind. As the Horizon's leadership gathered, the gravity of the situation became clear. They were facing a technologically superior species that viewed them as a threat, with seemingly no way to defend themselves or warn Earth of the impending danger. "Options," Alina demanded, looking around the room. Jack spoke up first. "We could try to make a run for it. Use the confusion of our sudden departure to slip away." Dr. Chang shook her head. "Their propulsion technology is far beyond ours. They'd catch us before we even left the system." "What about negotiation?" suggested Sarah. "If we could speak directly to their leadership, maybe we could allay their fears." Alina considered this. "It's worth a try, but we need a backup plan, something they won't expect." As the discussion continued, a junior engineer who had been quietly listening spoke up. "Captain, what if we could use their own technology against them?" All eyes turned to the young woman. "Explain," Alina prompted. "Well, they use energy manipulation for almost everything, right? What if we could create some kind of energy disruption? It might not stop them, but it could buy us some time." A spark of hope ignited in Alina's chest. It was a long shot, but it was something. Dr. Chang, work with the engineering team. See if you can make this happen. In the meantime, I'll request an audience with the Zarkoni leadership. We'll try diplomacy first, but be ready for anything. As the meeting adjourned, Alina steeled herself for what was to come. The next few hours would determine not just their fate, but potentially the fate of all humanity. They were outgunned and out of their depth, but they had one thing the Zarkoni might not expect: the indomitable human spirit and the creativity born of desperation. Little did they know that their actions in the coming hours would not only challenge the Zarkoni's preconceptions about humanity, but would also set in motion events that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of human ingenuity against the vast technological superiority of an alien civilization. Human ingenuity. As the crew of the ESS Horizon raced against time, the station around them hummed with an undercurrent of tension. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood before the imposing council of Zarkoni leaders, her posture straight and her gaze unwavering despite the gravity of the situation. "Honored Council," Elena began, her voice steady, "I come before you to address the concerns that have arisen regarding humanity's place in the galactic community." The Zarkoni leaders, their forms shimmering with a kaleidoscope of colors, regarded her with what she hoped was curiosity rather than hostility. "We understand your apprehension," Elena continued. "Humanity is young, untested in the greater universe. But I assure you, we come seeking knowledge and cooperation, not conflict." One of the Zarkoni, its form pulsing with deep, authoritative hues, responded, "Your words are noble, Captain Rodriguez, but actions speak louder than words. Your species' history is fraught with conflict and destruction. How can we be certain you won't bring that chaos to the stars?" Elena took a deep breath, choosing her next words carefully. "It's true, our history isn't without its dark chapters, but it's also filled with stories of cooperation, of overcoming differences to achieve greatness. We've united our planet, reached for the stars. We're here, standing before you because we believe in a future where different species can learn from each other, grow together." As Elena spoke, she silently prayed that her words were buying enough time for her crew to implement their desperate plan. Back on the horizon, Dr. Amelia Chang and her team worked feverishly. They had taken the young engineer's idea and run with it, developing a device that they hoped would create a localized disruption in the Zarkoni's energy manipulation fields. "How's it looking, Dr. Chang?" Commander Jack Foster asked, peering at the cobbled-together device. Amelia wiped sweat from her brow. It's our best shot. We've combined principles of quantum entanglement with what we've learned about Zarkoni energy manipulation. In theory, it should create a cascade effect, temporarily disrupting their systems." Jack nodded, his expression grim. "Let's hope theory translates to practice. We may not get a second chance at this." Meanwhile, in the council chamber, the debate continued. Elena could sense a division among the Zarkoni leaders. Some seemed swayed by her arguments, while others remained skeptical. "Your words are compelling, Captain," one of the more sympathetic council members mused. "But words alone cannot guarantee the safety of our civilization." Elena saw an opening. "Then let us prove ourselves through actions. We propose a joint mission, a chance for humans and Zarkoni to work together towards a common goal. Surely that would be a better measure of our potential than hypothetical fears." The council members conferred among themselves, their thoughts a rapid-fire exchange that Elena couldn't hope to follow. Just as it seemed they might be reaching a decision, alarms blared throughout the station. "Councilors!" A Zarkoni rushed into the chamber, its form flickering with urgency. "We've detected an energy surge from the human ship. There." The being's words were cut off as the lights in the chamber flickered and died. For a moment, everything was plunged into darkness. When emergency lights sputtered to life, Elena found herself facing a room of disoriented and angry Zarkoni. Their forms, usually so precisely controlled, wavered and shifted erratically. What have you done? The lead counselor's thoughts boomed in Alina's mind, tinged with fury and fear. Alina raised her hands in a placating gesture. Please remain calm. This is not an attack. We merely wish to demonstrate. Demonstrate what? Another counselor interjected. Your duplicity, your willingness to sabotage and deceive. No, Alina insisted, her mind racing to salvage the situation. To demonstrate our resourcefulness, our ability to adapt and overcome challenges. We took a fraction of what we learned from you and created something new. Imagine what we could achieve together if we worked in true partnership. The chamber fell silent as the Zarkoni processed her words. Alina held her breath, acutely aware that the next few moments could determine the fate of humanity. Suddenly, a new voice cut through the tension. She speaks the truth. All eyes turned to see Zarthok enter the chamber, flanked by several human crew members including Dr. Chang. Counselors, Zarthok continued, I've been working closely with these humans. What they've achieved here, with limited resources and understanding, is nothing short of remarkable. They didn't seek to harm us, but to prove their worth as potential allies. Dr. Chang stepped forward, holding the device that had caused the disruption. We can explain how it works, how we developed it. More importantly, we can work with you to improve it, to find new applications that could benefit both our species. The council members exchanged looks, their forms slowly stabilizing as the effects of the disruption wore off. Alina could sense a shift in the room's atmosphere, from hostility to cautious curiosity. The lead counselor addressed Alina, its thoughts more measured now. You've certainly proven your species' ingenuity, Captain, and perhaps we were too hasty in our judgments. But trust, once shaken, is not easily rebuilt. Alina nodded sullenly. We understand. We're not asking for unconditional trust, merely the opportunity to earn it. Let this be the beginning of a true dialogue between our peoples. As discussions resumed, this time with a tone of cautious optimism, Alina allowed herself a small sigh of relief. They had averted immediate disaster, but she knew the road ahead would be challenging. Humanity had proven its worth in a moment of crisis, but now came the harder task, building a lasting relationship with a species so different from their own. Little did they know that their demonstration of human ingenuity would soon be put to an even greater test, as a threat loomed on the horizon that would challenge both humans and Zarkoni alike.